Okay, I hit the live button right there. It says that we are live for the 2022 Westlake Charter School Prospective Parent Tour. Hey everybody, we're live on the YouTubes. If you're out there in YouTube Landia, you are here at the Westlake Charter School Prospective Parent Tour. We 100% thought this was going to be an in-person event. We have switched to virtual online, and we're excited that you're here with us today. I think we start with a round of introductions, then we'll jump into the agenda. My name is Dr. Ike. I'm the Executive Director of our Westlake Charter School. And over here in the corners, our K-8 principal. You want to introduce yourself, Mrs. Kayau?
Hi, I'm Mrs. Kayau.
And right above me is our high school principal. Whoops, you're muted there, Mrs. Yep, there you go.
Hi, Mrs. Batten.
That never happens in live real person, only on the virtual meets. And over here to my left, our WAVE president.
Hi, I'm Amber Houston.
And we are your Prospective Parent Tour team. We're honored that you came out to jam with us tonight. We are obviously big fans of Westlake Charter School. And tonight we're going to run this kind of virtual town hall meeting so that we can A, give you the information that we think you want to know about, and B, be open to questions and comments live throughout the show that we'll be doing kind of a Q&A as we go. I'm going to jump on the screen here and make sure we are following the agenda. You know, Westlake Charter School, everything we do, whether it's a staff meeting, a community meeting, or a classroom meeting, as we open up our morning meeting, we always start the same way. We start with celebrations. So we'll do a couple of celebrations on the screen here. And if you're out there in the live studio audience and you want to throw a celebration into our Google form, we'll tell you how to do that. I'm going to take you on a little physical tour of the plant. Like I said, we thought this was going to be a back to in-person scenario where we could walk you through the classrooms, and we obviously just couldn't pull that off because of the Omicron surge. However, two promises. One is we've got a video that we'll take you on a little classroom tour with, and the second promise is that maybe in future months as things get back to normal, we can follow up via email and do hey, it looks like it's good for a tour, and we can maybe bring you out for a tour in a very near future. We're just dying to get parents on this campus again. We want to talk to you about our mission. Why does a charter school exist in Natomas, in this region, doing what we do? What is our mission? We want to talk about our pillars of our educational philosophy, our amazing after-school programs, talk about our WAVE parent team, the Westlake Association of Volunteer Explorers. And we want you to follow Westlake on all the social medias. And we want to talk you through the lottery process. We know there's a lot of questions around that all the time. We want to make sure everybody understands that before we leave tonight. And then we'll do question and answers kind of throughout the whole show. So let's kick off the celebrations and do what we do. We'd love to have you out there in the live YouTube audience. Throw a celebration. What's one thing you know about Westlake that you're excited about? What's one thing about the community of Natomas that you just love being a part of? You can go to wcsinfo.cc/PPT, that's Prospective Parent Tour, questions. If you go to that link right there, it'll open up a Google form. You can type in the Google form. In the Google form, we will get your question, your comment, your celebration, and we'll bring it live on air here. All right, let's dive in and do some celebrations. Team, I think we had a couple of celebration slides. Ms. Houston, you want to take this one? I love this one.
I would love to. About once a month, we have a spirit day on our campuses. And this past month was Pajama Day. So you can see many students and staff members dressed up for Pajama Day on our campuses and had a fantastic day celebrating us entering the winter break.
Yeah, I love that one right there so much because not only the kids get into it at Westlake Charter School, but the grown-ups are right there with them celebrating all the spirit days, even the high school staff down there in the left corner. I love that. I love that so much. What do we got here? Oh, Mrs. Kayau, you want to riff on this art piece here?
I would love to. So Jive is our partner, and we're very grateful for them. But one of the things that they do is they promote us being active in the community and to walking and biking to school. And so they have an art contest once a year where they ask students to produce some art pieces about being active out in the community. And so our kiddos got to do that in partnership with our art teachers. And then it went to a committee and they were able to pick some winners, and they're all over our front gates of our campus, which just is, one, we're celebrating our students and their artwork, but two, our partnership with Jive. And so I just like to celebrate our partnership and our art teachers and our students that are wonderful artists.
They are wonderful. When the first day back from winter break, as I drove up in the morning and all the banners were out there, I thought, oh wow, where did these come from? Houston, did you put those up? Was that your team that put them up when we came back from break?
It was. It was the Jibe team along with the company who produced those. And they're just beautiful and they add so much brightness and light to our campus.
Oh, you could see, and as the kids came in, you could see them being like, "Oh, that's so much. Oh, that's yours." It was fun. That was a lot of fun. Hey, next celebration, Mrs. Batten, will you take this one?
Absolutely. So our high school opened this fall with an amazing group of ninth graders and amazing teaching staff. And one of the things that we jumped right into was developing our culture of clubs. And one of our clubs that came out of our student interest forums was the interest to have a Key Club, which is a service club. Key Club is a nationally recognized club, and our team made short order of joining the national organization along with a partnership from the Kiwanis Club. So the picture that you see on the slide today is our school counselor, Ms. Dowd, holding our official Key Club banner, which was made possible by our partnership with the Greater Sacramento Kiwanis Club. So we are just so grateful and so excited. This is just one example of the amazing clubs that we have on our high school campus, and celebrating that group of students who made that happen.
No, as we designed the high school, that's commitment to academic and social emotional balance is such a big deal for our mission statement, and making sure that clubs are available for all the high school students, such a big deal. Mrs. Batten, high school principal, what percentage of students are engaged in at least one club at the high school?
100% of students have signed up and joined a club and are tracked throughout their time at our high school to ensure that they remain engaged in clubs, which we know is an indicator of on-time graduation. So being engaged in student school culture is really an important part of that graduation, path to graduation.
Such a big deal. Get our students plugged in, make them part of something bigger than themselves. That's one of the things that carries students through to the finish line. We love it. We love it. Well, one of our core values, we have 10 amazing core values, but probably my favorite core value is the core value of joyful learning. When I first got here at Westlake like a decade ago, I kind of thought, I don't know, that's kind of a silly core value. What about respect, responsibility, excellence, right? But this is it. This has become a really iconic piece for me at Westlake Charter School. I walk around and I see joyful learning everywhere I look. I mean, over on the left, there's students building paper roller coasters in an elective period at the middle school. In the middle picture there, you see the art students who created this banner that spells out Explore, because we're the Westlake Explorers, and they're putting up a high school art gallery there. Everywhere you go, from classroom to classroom, you just see these examples of joyful learning, and we're all about it. We're all about high academic rigor and high expectations and high performance outcomes, but that only comes if your students are highly engaged. And that engagement piece comes from it. Hey, let's make learning joyful. Let's make it communal. Let's make it collaborative. Let's make it hands-on. Boy, I do love me some Westlake Charter School, and that's one of the pieces I love the most, is walking around and seeing all the expressions of joyful learning. Hey, team, are there any celebrations in the little Google form? Anybody hit us with a celebration? Not yet?
No celebrations yet.
Okay.
To join us with some.
Well, let's anybody got to celebrate? The next thing up is our campus tour. Anybody have a celebration they're dying to share before we jump in? Ms. Batten, what do you got?
So this is my 9th year with Westlake Charter School, which is so crazy to say. And so 9th round of prospective parent tours. And I just want to celebrate this evening. I'm not sure of our stats. I know as we jumped on, we had 60 people in the waiting room. I can only imagine that number has ballooned, but each time that our team gets to get in front of a new group of families and talk about our school, answer your questions about our school, it's such a moment to reconnect with who we are as a school, Westlake Charter School. So thank you all for giving up your time this evening to jump on this. And as Dr. Ike said, we will continue to look for opportunities to get together in person to as you make this decision.
Yeah, I love it. Anybody else got a celebration you're dying to share? Going once? Ooh, going twice? We've got Amber Houston on the screen. She is our WAVE president, our parent organization president. And I would just say, as all of our prospective parents are here tonight looking for a school for their child, we all know what an important decision that is. We're honored that you're here, but this partnership between school and community for us is the real deal. I mean, our mission statement reads, we demonstrate what's possible when school and community collaborate. Parents have a seat at the table at this school in more ways than you could possibly imagine. This little mom and pop shop, this little school that started in 2005, just wouldn't have grown up into the school that it is today if it wasn't everyone rolling up their sleeves and being a part of the work every single day. So parents are welcome here, they're wanted here, they're appreciated here, and honestly, big shout out to you, Mrs. Husted, and all the parents who've made Westlake what it is. I guess my celebration is welcome new parents. We're glad you're here. You guys ready for a campus tour?
Yeah.
Okay, families at home, again, we want to do an in-person tour, walking around the facility. We're going to have to postpone that because of the Omicron surge. We're all going to turn off our cameras. We're all going to watch this silly little video. We try to get you in the classroom and get you seeing what it's looked like. We shot this video a year ago when we first went into our first virtual parent tour. We did not think we were going to have to use this video today. So let's look at it today. We'll take your questions and answers going forward, and let's promise to get you on campus very soon for an actual real tour as the COVID numbers, subside in our region. Here we go.
Greetings, Prospective Explorer families. My name is Mr. Ike, and I'm the executive director of our Westlake Charter School. Families, I'm walking down the main hallway in our kindergarten through 8th grade campus. We call this hallway the Equator because we are the Westlake Explorers, and we designed this campus so that each of our buildings touches a different continent on a map of the world, representing our place in a global world. Now, behind me, to the north, is our office. To the south, on this side of me, is the library, the cafeteria, and the gymnasium. Off to the east is kindergarten through 5th grade classrooms, and to the west are our 6th through 8th grade classrooms. Now, I know everyone wants to peek inside of a classroom, but before we do, we thought we would talk to you about how we designed this campus with collaboration in mind. Mrs. Ike, could you tell us a little bit about collaboration?
Absolutely. My name is Mrs. Ike. I am the Director of Student Support Services at Westlake Charter School. Everything we do at Westlake is centered around collaboration, even the way our campus was designed. Each grade level classroom opens up into a common flex room. The flex room has lots of different uses. Students will come together to collaborate in small groups and work on projects together. Sometimes teachers will have in-house field lessons that all classes rotate through in the flex room. On one side of the flex room is the teacher workroom. We wanted our classrooms to be clutter-free so that we could use every square inch of our classrooms as learning spaces. With the extra space, teachers and students are able to move furniture to accommodate different lessons. For instance, during a math lesson, all students could be facing forward to see the lesson projected on the TV. Then students may transition into small work groups and could end up in a large circle to report out their work. Part of what makes our flexible furniture successful is our workroom. On the other side of the flex room, we have a collaboration room. This space is used for a variety of reasons, including one-on-one support, taking a break, and working in small groups with support staff. Back to you, Mr. Ike.
Thank you, Mrs. Ike. Now, families, our bell schedule has also been designed around collaboration. You will notice that we have an early release Wednesday every week. Teachers meet after school every Wednesday to either collaborate around curriculum, instruction, or student success, or meet to receive professional development on these Wednesdays. Now, this happens year-round. Our teachers also have at least 4 hours of common prep time each week to collaborate and share best practices with one another to best serve our students. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for is here. Let's see a classroom. Mrs. Jackson, tell us about kindergarten.
Thanks, Mr. Ike. My name is Sabrina Jackson. I am the coordinator for special education here at Westlake Charter School. Here is one of our amazing kindergarten classrooms. You will notice this is a bigger classroom with carpet space and workspace to give opportunities for flexible learning. This space also includes a carpet area, tables with flexible seating options, and space for teacher-directed instruction. Each kindergarten classroom also has their own student bathroom. Off of the kindergarten classrooms is a dedicated kinder playground with developmentally appropriate outdoor equipment.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. Now, families, I get to share one of my favorite rooms on campus. Now, don't tell anybody because I probably shouldn't have a favorite room, but how could this not be one of my favorite rooms? We are in the kindergarten through 3rd grade art room. Now, we are so lucky. Our kindergarten through 8th grade students are taught art, PE, and Spanish every week from credentialed teachers in those specific subject areas. And this art room is just one demonstration of the magic that comes to life in our specialties program. Okay, Mrs. Kaya, what part of Westlake are you going to share?
Mr. Ike, I'm in one of our middle school science classes. My name is Mrs. Kaya'u. I'm the proud principal of our K-8 school. We love our middle school program. Starting in 6th grade, students are placed with an advisory teacher that will be their advisory teacher until they promote out of 8th grade. Advisory classes compete against each other in rallies, school-wide contests, and our annual chili festival. Advisory is also the place where we work on social emotional learning. Our students enjoy having this consistent community during their middle school years. Our middle school students are taught in blocks. They will have one teacher who teaches math and science and another who teaches English language arts and social science. Using these block subjects allows teachers the flexibility to teach projects across multiple subjects. For example, our 8th grade students just use their math and science skills to create roller coasters. One of my favorite parts of the middle school program is electives. Students get to choose from a wide variety of electives and rotate to try new things every 6 weeks. Some of the favorite electives have been leadership, drama, team sports, Tinker Lab, yearbook, running, dance, and being a teacher's assistant. Now, back to you, Mr. Ike.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaya'u. I also love our elective program. You know, it makes me think about our after-school live program. You know, the fun doesn't have to end with the school day. Our after-school program is an extended opportunity for students to connect even after school ends. Our after-school program includes clubs, enrichments, middle school athletics, and our base or before and after school childcare program. The first component is free and available to all kindergarten through 8th grade students, which is our After School Live Clubs program. This program is staffed by parent volunteers just like yourself and have offered incredible clubs such as cooking and gardening and coding and movie club and so much more. The second part of our program within After School Live is our enrichment program. Now, this is available to all kindergarten through 8th grade explorers. Now, while there is a fee associated with this program, scholarships are available. We want everyone who is interested to be able to attend. You know, these programs are offered by local partners, who offer things such as early engineering, firefly art, honey code, dance, karate, glee, drama, and so much more. Now, next, we have our middle school athletics program. Middle school students participate in volleyball, flag football, basketball, dodgeball, kickball, and cross country. Now, this is run as an intramural program and allows us an opportunity to enrich our after-school program with our amazing Explorer athletics. Now, finally, we have our base program, which is our extended care program. Base is available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. during the week and over most school breaks. Now, in previous years, this is where our tour would end, but not this year. Mrs. Batten is in the wings and excited to tell everyone about Westlake Charter High School.
We will grow one grade each year until we have our first graduating seniors in the class of 2025. I wish I had an hour to tell you all about the high school. And if you have any questions, please email me directly and I will schedule time to connect. The academic program at WCHS has been designed in alignment with this UC and CSU system to ensure our graduates meet and exceed freshman academic criteria. All WCHS core academic courses will be approved by the University of California and include the 15 A through G courses required by the UCs for freshman admission. Westlake Charter High School is taking college preparation one step further. All Westlake Charter High School students will graduate college proven, meaning that all of our students will pass at least one developmentally appropriate college course. Planning is underway with American River College to support the delivery of college courses for our students at no cost to the student. Westlake Charter High School's daily 4x4 bell schedule has been designed to center our focus on personalization. Daily flex blocks have been built into the bell schedule to support personalization, to allow additional time for academic and social emotional learning, intervention, and extension. During the flex block time, some students may participate in a targeted math tutorial, while others will be completing honors coursework and still others working on an online college course. Flex blocks also allow our teachers the unique opportunity to meet our students' diverse academic and social emotional needs each day during the school day. Next, I get to talk about our embedded honors program. Our students who intend to compete with the most high-achieving high school graduates for freshman college admission must complete the most rigorous course of study offered at Westlake Charter High School. All of our students will have the opportunity to take UC-approved embedded honors courses. Honors courses are available for students to take the beginning of their 10th grade year and will be part of the academic program. Westlake Charter School will be a small, connected school community with a big school feel. One of the ways that we will build this big school feel is by offering competitive high school sports in the fall, winter, and spring seasons. We will compete against other area high schools. In addition to high school sports, we will also have a rich offering of electives, clubs, and of course, student activities.
Families, we know we have given you a lot of information in this virtual tour. And the great part of being virtual is that this will be available to rewatch if there are key elements that you missed or you want to hear anything again. So let's go back to our live presentation to answer some questions from the audience tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of our Prospective Parent Tour. We welcome you all to our community. And as you'll get to know, and at the end of every broadcast, we always like to say, and as always, let's explore.
All right. Nothing more strangely awkward than seeing yourself on screen saying, let's explore, live on the YouTubes. Oh, there's a good picture right there. There's me. There we go. Well, team, while we were watching the video and taking a little tour, I'm sure there's some questions bubbling in already, or maybe even some comments or celebrations. Do we want to keep pushing forward, or are there any questions, comments, or concerns to pick off before we move forward? Who's got an eyeball on the spreadsheet? Oh, Ms. Baden, I see you. I saw your hand.
I would just love to share. I mean, it's so fun, again, to have this event and be able to interact with the participants. And so we've just got some really wonderful celebrations coming in. Some former Westlake families who maybe have older students who have gone on to other schools to celebrating, getting to see the team back together again and being back. So thank you for those celebrations. We did have a question around parent involvement. I wonder if we could speak to that. That might be a great. So just a question on what are the expectations for parent involvement at Westlake Charter School?
That's a great question right there. I'm just going to key in on the word of expectation. So what do we hope for? Oh, we hope for all kinds of parent involvement. We want you here every day that you want to be here. If you could be here 5 days a week, we'll take you. If you could be here 1 day a week, we'll take you. If you could be here 1 day a month, 1 day a trimester, 1 day a semester, whatever you can give, we'll take it. Because we know that the moment a parent steps on campus and gets involved in school, their student does better. It's better for the child, it's better for the community, it's better for the classroom. However, that word expectation is a tricky one. There is no legal requirement. This is a public school. It's a tuition-free public school. A lot of people don't understand charter schools. They think it's really different than their traditional public school. We're a little different, but we 100% cannot require anybody to do any parent volunteerism as a stipulation to your child going to school here. You get into this school, this is your school, and nobody can tell you have to volunteer. However, we will politely ask you repeatedly, come on down and volunteer. And if you can't make it on campus, we have take-home projects that you can do. And all of that really facilitates through our WAVE team, which I know we're going to talk about tonight. Ms. Houston, did I miss any bullet points on the volunteerism question that you want to kind of echo out there?
Not real. I mean, I think the most important piece is that we urge families to find what fits best in their family and find that way to us. So that's all we ask.
Yeah, there's parents who act as the parent liaison for a classroom but never even step on campus. They just facilitate lots of work through email. There's people who get involved in our annual international festival. There's people who get involved on campus, off campus. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Any other questions you want to grab from the tank before we roll forward, or you want me to dive into the mission of the school?
I think dive into the mission and we'll kind of curate those questions from behind.
I love it. I love it. Well, I've got the mission slides. I am a big fan of Westlake Charter School. Right, this place I wear on my sleeve. I bleed Explorer blue. I love this place, and really, it comes. Oh, there's that video again. not what I meant to do. It all comes down to this mission right here. We demonstrate what is possible when school and community collaborate to create inspiring adults with the academic and social emotional readiness to lead as global citizens. And this mission statement was not crafted in a side room by some administrator with a tie on. It wasn't just like a piece of administrivia. This took several months of work between parent involvement, teacher involvement, student involvement, staff involvement to craft this thing, and every single word in there kind of means a little something to us. We demonstrate what is possible. What is possible? Well, what is possible is, like, first of all, finding out what people say is impossible. I love it when someone's like, oh, well, you can't get all your kids to perform. Like, oh, do you think that's impossible? Our job is to demonstrate what is possible. So if you think something's impossible in the field of education, we're going to go after that with both hands and see if we can demonstrate what's possible. The other part of that is, like, we are a charter school. What is a charter school? A charter school is just like a tiny school district. And in the state of California, they say, hey, we're going to give you your own ability to charter your own organization and try different new and innovative things. Demonstrate what's possible so the rest of the larger organizations in the state of California can steal those innovative ideas. The charter movement was born to try new things and to demonstrate what is possible. And we do it all the time here at Westlake Charter School. Our one-to-one technology stuff started years before other people did. Our flexible seating to the point where our kindergartners start off in a classroom where they're able to decide where they want to sit in the classroom. Well, when we do reading, I like to sit underneath the table. When we do math, I like to stand at a standing table to get my wiggles out. And you watch those kindergartners become 8th graders. By the time you get to high school, some of our learning looks like they're at Starbucks. They're self-advocating for their own needs. They know what they need. We demonstrate what is possible each step of the way. We demonstrate what's possible when school and community collaborate. We talked about that. Collaboration is at the center of everything we do. If you're a parent at this school, your opinion, your values, what you bring to the educational chain is as important as anyone else. So we collaborate in the classroom. We teach our kids that learning is a social act, but we also collaborate as adults. We spend tons of time in shared leadership modeling and working with our parent community and working with these interdisciplinary groups to make sure that everyone's voice is represented in the learning continuum that we're putting together. So we demonstrate what's possible when school and community collaborate to create inspiring adults. These inspiring adults are your kindergartners. You're in a prospective parent who are going, I don't have an adult. I got a 5-year-old. Yes, well, that 5-year-old is our future inspiring adults. We are going to partner with our families to create inspiring adults. When our children leave the 12th grade and head off into college, we have a kind of a diagram of what we consider an inspiring adult, a person who's a self-advocate, who demonstrates resourcefulness. Our job is to create these inspiring adults, right, through community collaboration and demonstrating what is possible. But what does an inspiring adult have? They have a balance of academic and social emotional readiness. A lot of schools would come out and just tell you, hey, we're all about the academics and academic excellence, but we don't believe that we achieve academic excellence without also social emotional readiness. These soft skills of communication and collaboration, the value of creativity in the modern workforce, those pieces are social emotional learning pieces that aren't inherently built into the academic standards. You might be able to memorize a multiplications table, but without the creativity, collaboration, and the ability to communicate, what good does it do you in your career aspects out on the other side of college? So we really believe deeply in the whole child approach, that every student deserves academic excellence and social emotional readiness and the support to be excellent at both. So we demonstrate what is possible when school and community collaborate to create inspiring adults. That's our students with the academic and social emotional readiness to do what? To lead as global citizens. So what does that global citizens piece mean? Well, we've defined global citizens as those inspiring adults who embrace equity, inclusivity, diversity, cultural competencies. Where better than the Thomas, the most diverse zip code in the nation, according to the New York Times 2006, 2011, 2016. In this incredibly socioeconomically, racially, culturally, and ethnically diverse zip code, our children will learn to lead as global citizens, because who better to lead the future of this country and this world than the students of this zip code? So I told you I get a little excited about this mission statement, but I think it really speaks to who we are and what we believe and the way we do what we do. And so I said we kind of jump into the mission. We'll go from this mission statement and we'll go into our next topic. We'll talk about these educational pillars that drive the work we do and bring that mission to life. Before we dive in, are there any questions in the chat?
There are quite a few questions, but if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of take some of the kindergarten questions. There might be a group of them out there. So the couple of questions is, how many kindergarten students will we admit to this year? Do you want me to answer that question?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you would answer. Would you
Go ahead, Greg.
Well, each year we have 112 kindergarten students who fulfill our amazing 5 kindergarten classrooms. We have 5 kindergarten classrooms, 112, 22 students per classroom. So we have really the smallest class sizes in the region. It's part of our educational philosophy that, these relationships are incredibly important between teacher and students and students and students. So we keep our class sizes intentionally small so everyone gets the personalization that we're about to talk about. So there's 112 kindergartners in a grade level. Now, at the night of the lottery, and I'll talk about this in the lottery, the night of the lottery, we always hold 5 spots just in case somebody in the current kindergarten class gets held back. Now, typically we don't hold anybody back, but if we did, we'd have those spots available. So if you're the first 5 on the wait list, you're likely to have those spots released to you in a couple of months after lottery. So we'll talk more about lottery as we go, but the short answer is 112 kindergarten students.
Yeah, and another question about is the kindergarten schedule, and I'd love to speak to it just briefly. Our kindergartners do have a full day kindergarten program, so they start at 8:30 and they get released at 2:45. The last hour of their day is specialties, which is a perfect time for them. Specialties is art, PE, and Spanish, and that's from 1:40 to 2:40. So at the time of day, they're a little bit tired, and they're going to be enriched in a different area than practicing those reading or math skills. They also have lunch on campus, and they will have 3 different activity times or recesses. So they have that day, and it's a full day, but it is very much age appropriate, and our students do release 30 minutes before our other students are on campus.
Very good.
And one last question before, and it goes to the volunteering. And I think, will there be options for volunteering in kindergarten, even if we're virtual or if we're not on campus? And Mrs. Hughes said, have parents been able to volunteer even when we're on campus right now, but our parents are not necessarily on campus here? Are there still opportunities to volunteer right now?
There are always lots of opportunities to volunteer. We have activities that go on after school. We have activities that can go on from home, or we have committees that meet virtually and organize different events. Right now, we're working on some staff appreciation items, and we have parents and guardians coaching some of our sports programs. There's lots of different opportunities, and we are hoping to get back in the classroom soon. But until then, we are looking for lots of different opportunities to offer our families.
Thank you. And then one last question, and then we'll hop into our pillars here. Just in regards to, and I think that there'll be larger COVID questions as we go and how we respond to that as a school. But I kind of want to take this question of when we talked about our campus, specifically the Mabry campus, kindergarten through 8th grade, we have kindergartners and 8th graders on our campus. And the question is kind of how do you keep them separated? And I would say, how do we keep them together at some level, because one of the beauties of having a kindergarten through 8th grade is an 8th grader interacting with a kindergartner in a positive way. And we've been learning how to do that since we've lived on this campus. But we, just so you know, if you haven't been to our campus, kindergarten is on one end of the campus and our middle school is housed on the other end of the campus. So there's rarely any time that they actually are crossing over unless it is purposeful through staff and the team really driving them interacting. But it is a wonderful campus and they are spread out, but we also give opportunities for each side to grow by interacting with one another.
Actually, coming together on one campus, our middle school program, our elementary program, really was one of the big surprise gifts. We are absolutely just been blown away year after year about that collaboration, that kindergarten and 8th grade. Who has the very first pillar that we're going to talk about, our place in the global world?
I do. And I'm going to do something that we typically do in person in the virtual setting. And I will apologize to our amazing team on the back end who's managing our question and answer form. We know right now that we have about just over 100 people watching the show this afternoon or this evening. If you're out there and you can see that bar along the bottom that gives you the website to go to submit a question, jump on there, even if you haven't asked a question yet, and tell us what grade level you're representing here or grade levels you're representing. It's so fun when we do this in person and we're in a room together. We always say, hey, here's you from kindergarten. So if you are not a kindergarten family and you're like, I don't really want to put my name in, just so that the kindergarten families don't win, put your name in. Let's see what families we have. We've got some people jumping in the chat right now or jumping in. And we just want to see who's out there tonight. We've got kindergarten. We know we've got some first grade families. We've got some fifth grade families, some ninth grade families. I'm looking for the ninth grade families out there. Any 10th grade families. So go ahead, jump in and tell us what family. I got a kinder with an exclamation point. I'm telling you, those kinder parents, they are excited. Those kinder families are excited to join us. So let us know where you are coming from. And that just helps us also know, to make sure that we're highlighting those parts of our program as well. So while that starts jumping off, I'm going to dive into the first two of our pillars. I'm going to talk to you about our place in a global world and personalization. I'm going to hope that my amazing team down here gives me the get off the stage signal, because when I get to talk about our school, we'll do it for far too long. Dr. Ike, as he talked about the end of our mission statement, talked about our students leading as global citizens. And this pillar, our place in a global world, where our students are seen as citizens of the world and are empowered to embrace the mindset that they can make a difference in the world, really ties into that last. It's how we manifest that leading as global citizens through different specific activities on campus, and then just a mindset that is tied to this pillar. So I thought for the different groups that we have out there, I'd highlight maybe an activity or something that happens in that grade level that embodies this pillar. So as we look at kindergarten, our kindergarten students participate in December on a gingerbread. They go searching for the gingerbread man. You might be saying, how does that teach them about our place in a global world? Well, they follow the gingerbread man through multiple different countries as he travels around after he's escaped our school. It brings excitement to our students. They are eager to learn about where the gingerbread man is going on his travels. And you'll hear kindergarten students talking about places in the world that they didn't even know existed, because in kindergarten, we're so focused on our home, our family, maybe our city of Sacramento or our area of Natomas. And so to begin to expand their world through that activity is something that is a staple of our program. It is the beginning steps of that realization of our place in a global world. We look at our fifth grade classes where students are beginning to have conversations about their culture, their home traditions, sharing those pieces and really celebrating each other and what they bring to the table. And then in fifth grade, they're taking virtual field lessons around the world to different places. They're really, again, getting to experience those different areas, talk to people who are living there, connect with schools that are in different countries, and again, making those relationships and really continuing to cement the fact that there is life outside of our area, and what does that mean to us as a student sitting in Natomas. And Dr. Ike so perfectly illustrates our community's diversity. And I think that as we talk about our place in the global world, that is really the through line of our K-12 program, that we celebrate our community's diversity and we continue to ensure that our students are learning about that diversity and celebrating it as well. And they talk about eighth grade. This may be a bit of it's not an activity, they're not going to a field lesson, but we look at our eighth grade students and their ability to collaborate and work with each other and share ideas. And every time we have visitors on campus and they walk through our eighth grade flex spaces, they'll say over and over again, the conversation between your eighth grade students, the way that they are able to have a difference of opinions and come to a consensus really is such an amazing skill. And it's something that before we had a high school, we would hear from other area high schools that our eighth graders would promote from our program and go into other area high schools and just really be these amazing collaborators and have those 21st century skills that we know our students need to lead as global citizens. So you see that K-8 program building towards that eighth grade piece. And then in ninth grade, I of course feel like I saved the best for last, but our ninth graders have come in this school year and really just begun to embody this pillar, our place in a global world. They will be traveling to the Museum of Tolerance at the end of this year and we believe are probably some of the only freshmen in the area that are getting to take this trip outside again of their community to experience a teenage summit where they'll talk about global topics and again get to practice those skills of collaboration. They'll get to visit a college site and begin to explore the idea of what they're going to be doing post graduation. And so I share those just little moments throughout our K-12 program that embody this pillar. One of, I think, all four of our favorites, though, that I would be remiss if I didn't share is our international festival. So two of the pictures you see on the screen are from our international festival. Our amazing WAVE team puts this event on. I can tell you how important it is to our community, and that in the moments over the past 2 years where we weren't able to hold it in person, last year our team came together and said, let's make sure that our families are able to share their culture. We made a virtual version of this international festival. We cannot wait for the day that our campus has the smells and the sounds of our community back on campus. And I hope that all of you were able to come out to that event when we have it back in person again, in the near future, hopefully.
Yeah, I love that. This pillar kind of is our founding position right there. I love it. Talk about personalization.
I would love to. So, I think often when I talk about this pillar at our prospective family tours, I use the word differentiation because I think often when you travel through schools, you hear people say, our classrooms, we differentiate in our classrooms. And as an educator coming to Westlake for the first time 10 years ago and talking about personalization, I think I just was like, oh, well, that's differentiation. That's something I've done in my 15 years in the classroom. That's what that is. And as I've experienced Westlake over the 10 years, I wish I had an hour to tell you about the differences between differentiation and personalization at Westlake Charter School. Because personalization truly is knowing the academic and social emotional needs of each student who sits in your classroom. Whether you're a kindergarten teacher who has those 22 students from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, or you're an 8th grade teacher who is seeing almost the entire 8th grade throughout the day, it is truly something that sets us apart. That each of our teachers, each of the educators on our campus, get to know each student's needs and are crafting the academic material they're receiving, the academic learning and social emotional learning environment. So we talked about our classrooms and the flexible furniture and flexible seating options, and really providing a personalized experience to each student. And people say all the time, that's a great thing to put on a slide. It is not possible to do. I will tell you that I am the mom of 2 amazing young men who are in almost says kindergarten. Oh my goodness. Hopefully Max isn't watching tonight. 1st grade and 6th grade at Westlake Charter School. And they are, as I'm sure all the families out there know, my kids could not be more different. And their journey through our school has been so personalized to their needs. And I've watched their peers have the same experience. And so I'll put my parent stamp of approval on this pillar and just tell you that what is truly the superpower at Westlake Charter School is our staff and not just their ability, but their desire to really make sure that each student is getting what they need each and every day.
Yeah, oh boy, you nailed that one for sure. That is the superpower at Westlake Charter School, is the amazing grown-ups here who lead personalization. Who's got the teacher designer one? Is this you, Mrs. Caillou?
I do, but I feel like Mrs. Batten kind of talked to this. But one of the things that we demonstrate what is possible, and one of the parts that we demonstrate what is possible is we recruit and retain the best people. That is, this place is filled with people that are passionate and care so deeply for their craft. So when we talk about teachers as designers, they are, we use the Common Core state standards. It drives all of our instruction, but our teachers have the ability and the opportunity here to take those Common Core standards, collaboratively work as a team, and build units of study that really take into account that personalization that we're talking about, where they're designing for their students that are sitting in the chairs in their room at that time. Yeah. So the teachers use curriculum, some curriculum, math and ELA, but they have the flexibility and opportunity to create units of study that are thematic. So we often know when they are thematic and they incorporate social studies and into reading, and even to incorporate math into some of those, that the students are making greater connections to that. So we have thematic. In the middle school, you might see some project-based where these kids are creating a project to really cement their learning. But I go back to the teachers designing that work. Now, you can ask any of our teachers, they work very, very hard. And sometimes it's tiring because they sit and they collaborate and they create these units of study that are so meaningful for your child. And so you'll notice our pillars are all connected. The teacher as designer goes to this personalization. And so we recruit and retain the best. And I stand to that. I always say I put my kid in any of their classrooms, and that's to test that they are really quality instructors. And so we recruit and retain the very best instructors.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're hiring staff in a school that values teachers, designers, saying, hey, show us a unit you've designed. How do you design with personalization in mind? If you have this student in your class and that student in your class, how would you design a unit? And the craft of our teaching staff is phenomenal. I put them against anybody. Do you have this one, Mrs. Houston? Is this from you, or is this from you, Jen?
It's me, but Mrs. Houston can probably talk about.
I love the pictures like this. I love this. This is the jam.
Right. It's such a collaboration sometimes with WAVE and the opportunities that we have for our students. So when we talk about enriching educational opportunities, we recognize that kids get their core subject areas in the classroom, the math, the reading, the social studies and science, but then we want to enhance that to make it even bigger and better for them. And so you'll see on the screen here some enriching opportunities outside of the classroom, right? So we have our students in a drama and a play, which is so phenomenal. We have sports. We have our after school live that Dr. Ike has already spoke to, where we have our students are participating in things outside of the classroom that really are helping them to grow deeper about their learning. Now, we also talked about our specialty classes, because our specialty classes are enriching our students in a different way, where they go to Spanish and PE and art all the way from kindergarten and finding a love of language. Some of our kindergarten students are figuring out they love Spanish as they learn about culture and experiences. And so these opportunities are ways to take our kids just from their basics of learning to expanding. And that is such an honor to take kids further in their learning and to find ways that we can find each kid to find their niche, right? Like, you like drama? Let's provide a club. You like this? And giving that opportunity. And so I think as a community, we work really hard to figure out how can we give those opportunities to students throughout the time that they're at school, because we get them for quite a bit of time during the day. And so it's such a great pillar that really is, when you dive deep, you go, yeah, when you look at our 4 pillars, this pillar just says, how do we go beyond the classroom to keep our students alive and loving school?
Yeah, and I think a big part of that too is the field lessons. I mean, our students are explorers. The Westlake Charter School explorers, and Mrs. Batten spoke to that overnight field lesson that goes down to the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles for our 9th graders. But for our 6th graders, our 8th graders, every grade level has field lessons that are really enriching. Who's got this next slide? Is it me? I can't remember. Not this one. This next slide here, the one about after school program. Is that one me, or is that you, Mrs. Husted? I think it might be me. Before we dive into what it looks like after school in our after school program, are there any pertinent questions that bubbled up during the pillars conversation, or any that we should maybe respond to right now?
Just because we just came off the enriching education opportunities, there are a couple of questions about high school sports. And so if I could just speak to that for a moment. So you'll see on the picture that Dr. Ike just went back to a cluster of athletes with numbers on their back. That is our girls volleyball team. So I know that if you were watching the video closely and you're listening to verb tense, you heard we are offering high school sports. So our freshmen have competed in a complete fall season of girls volleyball and boys soccer. Our winter season's underway right now. We have boys basketball and girls basketball teams. Our spring sports are in conditioning right now and we're actually in dead week right now, so they can't touch any equipment. But we are playing girls soccer and boys volleyball. I think something just before I jump off the screen that's really important to point out with our sports program that is such a piece of all of our high school is that these sports that we have adopted were based on our student feedback, right? So last year we went to our incoming 9th graders and we said, hey, what sports do you want to play? Soccer was like over and over again. We had a lot of students who hadn't played volleyball before who were like, we'd like to try volleyball. Hence the 16 girls you see on the screen who had just this phenomenal season. And basketball was also kind of our there's a lot of excitement around basketball. We also offer esports all year long, and so that's also a CIF regulated sport. So it is a competitive high school sport.
Right.
It has scholarship opportunities. I know I met a young man who is going to Duke on a full ride esports scholarship. So yeah, we are excited to begin to compete in that world. And we will continue to add sports. So we're looking to add swimming, track and field, and possibly cheer leading next year. And as our school grows and our student interests continue to gather our student interests, we'll continue to add those. Again, competitive high school sports, playing against other area high schools. Will be playoff eligible next year. So very exciting.
And honestly, we're a new school, but we are fielding some teams. I mean, if you're interested in your child playing in competitive sports, who are going to compete at a high level, we have some teams that are looking. Like, I think playoffs is on the table next year, and I am so excited about it. So yeah, any other questions that we should grab before we move forward, team? Going once.
Yeah, I think we could. I wouldn't mind taking a couple of the high school questions.
Yeah.
We just talked about that. So there are some questions about, Ms. Batten talked about the clubs a little bit and the different offerings. Ms. Batten, do you want to speak to the clubs? And then Dr. Ike, there's a question about where the high school is located.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to talk about that. You go ahead, Ms. Batten, talk to fun clubs, and I'll talk about construction project.
Absolutely. So our, again, just like with sports, we went to our student body both before they ever were freshmen and then as they entered our freshman year, and we'll continue to do this practice and ask them what area, we help coach them on developing clubs, right? Because high school clubs are, have a board, they have a president, they have a secretary, they have a treasurer, they are keeping minutes. They are in areas of interest, but they're also those important pieces for your college application. And so we want to ensure, again, that our students were all connected to school and all had things that they were interested in or areas they want to explore further. So I would love to read our list of 20 clubs. I will tell you that if you want to shoot me an email, I will send you the list of 20 clubs. But every student has found a club that they're interested in, and we have 22 clubs running on campus right now. I've got 2 students who are putting a club charter in for a new club, so we'll see how that one goes. But definitely a wide array of club opportunities, and I'd love to talk more about specific clubs we're offering on campus.
I love it. Clubs at high school. I was a long-time high school principal, right? Clubs always meet at lunch. They meet after school. That doesn't always work for everyone's schedule. The fact that you build time into the school day periodically to make sure that students have access to those types of things is just. It just sets Westlake apart. It says that our commitment to social emotional, this connected to school thing really means something. That's great. Mrs. Kaya, was there a question about facilities? Is that what it was? So right now we are in a beautiful temporary facility for our high school at 4400 East Commerce Way, right here in Natomas. It's 2 miles from our kindergarten through 8th grade campus. We have a little shuttle bus service that brings our athletes over to this campus, the K-8 campus, so we can use our state-of-the-art gymnasium and athletics fields after school. But it's a really cool, we call it the East Commerce Innovation Center, the high school, because it is like a really cool space that the students have helped create with flexible furniture. And as you go on a walking tour of the campus, we'd love to take you there. You'll dig it. It's got a really cool commercially vibe, but the kids love it. Big roll-up doors in the student commons, has a very collegiate kind of university feel with this big outdoor socialization space with some AstroTurf and raised seating and umbrellas, and the kids all use it. I mean, I think the high school space is fantastic. However, it's not our permanent space. It's great for these next couple of years as our school grows. However, we are in negotiations right now on a piece of dirt. I can't really talk about negotiations because I don't want to blow the negotiations, but know this, that coming soon to a piece of dirt near you, we're going to pop a sign in the dirt that says future home at Westlake Charter High School, and we'll be working with our community on that project going forward. So stay tuned, and you'll see some pretty exciting news coming out before long. Natomas Unified School District just had a board meeting tonight, I think while we're talking right now, about a piece of dirt they just bought, and it came out in the newspaper yesterday, but I work very closely with the superintendent and that whole team at Natomas Unified, and they've been working on that deal for months and months and months. So a lot of work happens in the background, and then eventually, ta-da, the piece of, the sign goes in the piece of dirt, and we hope to do the same at Westlake Charter School very soon. Ms. Batten?
Just on that note, we do have a parent of a 9th grader on the YouTube right now, who just dropped a note in there, and she has a 7th grader she's looking to move over, but she said, yes, it is temporary, but FYI, my 9th grader says it feels like a college campus to him. And so I think sometimes people are like, yeah, you talk the game. I'm telling you, our 9th graders are like, are we moving? But we don't know if we really want to, because it's a pretty cool space. So we are loving our space right now.
I mean, they've got the Explorer Lounge. It's got the ping pong tables, and the students designed it with those LED lights. They got the vending machines. It takes the Apple Pay. I mean, yeah, it's a way cooler space than I think where I went to college back in the late 80s. Yeah, okay. Any other questions, you guys? You guys want to dive forward in the slides?
I think go to the next slide, and it might answer some of the questions we have about our after school. Go to there you go.
This slide here is really centered around our kindergarten through 8th grade after school program. We just want to let our families know that there are kind of 4 components to ASL After School Live, right? It's our after school program. There are clubs that are facilitated by parent volunteers, and it's an awesome collaboration. In fact, it was Mrs. Husted's idea, I think, from way back when we were on our Del Paso campus. At one of our parent coffee talks, this idea came up. What if we had parent-facilitated clubs? And sometimes there's cooking and drawing and gardening and all these cool little board game clubs. Kindergarten through 8th grade, clubs are here. You got to get involved. You'll dig them. Right below that is enrichments. Enrichments are when we bring in outside vendors like a ukulele instructor or a dance instructor. They're paid vendors, so they're here after school and they're available. But we have scholarships because we want every single person who's interested to get involved in those opportunities. So it is a lively, this campus is bubbling after school. We got clubs and enrichments. Now, COVID has gotten in the way, but we're all hoping that thing goes away and we get back to business as usual. But in the afternoon, it's bubbling. The sports, like we talked about, is a 6th through 8th grade intramurals. Why do we love that? Because everyone's in. Hey, you never played volleyball in your life? Get out here, everybody. I think we had 66 kids sign up for co-ed volleyball. In this season, like it's a ton of volleyball teams, and we all get out there, and we have parent volunteers who help us coach. We have high school students come down and help coach, and it's fantastic. And then our base program is before and after school explorers, right? So that's our after school child care program. If your family needs child care for your kindergarten through 8th grade student, before or after school, we have that right here on campus. So I can go at length on any of these topics if anybody has questions, but I want to give a quick overview on that. Is that okay, Ms. Caillou?
Yeah, I think you answered most of those questions. Some of the activities are paid, but at base or enrichment, and others are free. And so and others said, do I get to pick and choose? Of course, we produce information out every season. So in the fall and in the spring, and you get to pick as a family and try different things. Just keep your eyes peeled as you join our Westlake community and how you can get involved.
There's a lot of choice involved. Even the kids at base are often given choice. Hey, you want to go do the science project today or the art project? You want to go do so there's a lot of voice and choice. Vote with your feet. All right, best part of the show, I think it's let's talk WAVE. All right, Mrs. Husted, talk us through what is WAVE and what do we do?
Hi, so once again, my name's Amber Husted. I've been at the school for many years. Like a lot of you, we went over some of your grades. This next year, I will have a kindergartner, but I will also have a 9th grader and then several in between. But my youngest child is starting kindergarten and I'll be joining the high school. So I'm really excited about that. So WAVE, you'll often hear on our campus or in our communications us talking about WAVE. And it just stands for Westlake Association of Volunteer Explorers. It's kind of like a PTA, but it's kind of different. So we don't charge any fees. There's no forms to fill out. Everybody's a member. If you are a member of this community, you are a member of WAVE. And so that's what it is. It's all of us as one community coming together. Dr. Ike talked a lot about collaboration during our mission and the beginning of this presentation. And that's what it's all about, is collaborating in every single thing that Westlake does and that WAVE does. We do it together. So we are one community and we're just really interconnected. So our main goals are connecting families to volunteer opportunities, connecting our communities in any way we can. Sometimes we do fundraising, and that's always awesome to fundraise, but our main goal is always to connect our community and to support our students and our staff in any way we can. So we work together. like Dr. Ike said, we're an open door, so there's always new ideas flooding in. That's how a lot of these after school activities and all kinds of things got started, was just parents going, hey, could we try this? And we're like, okay, sure. And that's the great thing about this community, is we're always just trying to improve and share information, and it's just a wonderful community. So we always have lots of community building events typically, and we're going to get back there. I promise. I'm looking forward to it. So you can see some of the great activities we have and events we have here. The International Festival, of course, we have an Olympic triathlon every year, which does fundraise, but it also celebrates all of the amazing things happening on our campus. We have a fall festival that I absolutely love. And we have little events like there's a science kind of night going on there where everybody's just walking around doing different experiments at tables. So there's just a lot of fun events here, and a lot of it is just about community building. You come to an event and you meet all kinds of new families, or you can't volunteer in the classroom during the day. You're going to volunteer at one of these events for an hour and then walk around for the next hour with your family. So there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of ways to get involved. And then there's just a lot of ways to connect. We have movie nights where we sit in our giant gym and we watch a movie sitting on the floor eating popcorn, and you meet new people, families you've never seen before, and it's a great way to connect. And we just love getting together in those ways. And we do have monthly meetings where we talk about, it's for anybody. Everybody's invited. Right now they're virtual, but we hope to do them in person again, where we just come on and say, okay, how's it going? What can we do? What do we want to do? Who wants to do that? So we just talk, and it's a great way to get to know other people. There's no pressure. You can just listen, or you can jump right in. And we have monthly coffee talks right now that have also been virtual, but we did a couple. What did we do? 2 or 3
in person, while streaming through YouTube, outdoors, in the middle of a pandemic, trying to stay socially distanced. That was fun.
But they've been fantastic, and we love seeing our community again. And we will continue the coffee talks. We've done them for years, but the format has changed a bit, and we kind of like it. We like that it accesses more people. And so we get together, and it's those of us you see on the screen and other parents, and we come together and just ask questions. We talk, we celebrate, we do the things we do. So that's really what WAVE is about. My main focus is always community. How can we connect? How can we support each other? And, what do we want to do next?
Ms. Houston, not to put you on the spot or blow you up, but like, one of my favorite parts about WAVE is that it creates this little network where you're never alone, and it's hard to parent, and it's hard to parent kids who are in school, and it's hard to be new to school, and you come here and there's like this limitless resource of, like, I see all the time. I see people reach out to you and other families on WAVE or on that Facebook page, and it's just like, what do you need? Anything you need, however long you need it for. I just love that network aspect of WAVE. Families, we do a weekly newsletter, obviously. Ms. Houston helps us build the newsletter and takes input from families that what goes in the newsletter. So it's like families communicating to families. We do a weekly podcast. Ms. Houston and the other WAVE members are on the podcast. It's really an extension of the school. It's not this separate, that's the parent club and this is the school. It is all one thing, and we're so lucky to have the team. Team, we only have 2 slides left. I know we're like at 1 hour right now. Do you want to nail these couple slides and then take questions, or do you have some questions that you're bubbling right now?
I think we should finish slides, because I think a lot of questions will be answered by the lottery slide.
Great. Then and we'll stay. We'll stay and answer Q&A. We'll let people get going home. We want to let you know to follow us on the socials, right? We know that everybody's on the social medias, right? We've got a WAVE Facebook page, obviously, and a Westlake Charter Facebook page. We're on the Instas and we're on the Twitters. And look, if you want to see what we're doing, check out at Westlake Charter, and you'll get a kind of a vibe of how we celebrate. Everything we do out there on the socials is celebrating the way we do what we do with the people we do it with, and we're proud of the way we tell our story, because it's always this positive ethos that we project, and it makes us feel good about, like, each one of us on this screen either has a student here or has had a student here or is about to have a student here. Like, we're all family members too. And so, hey, check us out on the socials. I think you'll dig it, and interact with us. We'd love to jam with you. And the last slide that we have is the lottery process. You guys want me to take this one? All right. You know, the lottery is such a funny deal, but I want to make sure that everybody understands exactly what the lottery means. So first of all, charter schools are public schools. We are a nonprofit, tuition-free public school. We are just like the public school down the street. When charters open their doors, they're open to all children. We have a beautiful full inclusion special education program. There is no student that we can't serve right here at our school. All children are welcome at Westlake Charter School. When the charters law was passed in '96, it said, hey, you charter schools, you're public schools. And when you open your door, whoever walks through that door, you serve them. And we've taken that to heart from day one, and we love being a part of this community. Here's the one caveat. If you open the door and more people walk in than spaces that you have to follow the lottery rules. Well, why? Well, if they didn't have those rules, there might be schools out there that open the doors. You know, we got 112 kindergarten spots, maybe 500 people showed up, and they just picked the people they wanted. Well, that is not how a public school is supposed to operate with public funds. This is your school, is a public school. It's open to all, and it should run as a random public lottery if there are more applicants than we have seats available. Okay, so check. How's it operate? Well, I mean, it really did operate at one point where there was like the ping pong balls, and we pulled the numbers, you know, and we were standing in the gymnasium. Well, now, you know, we have 1,000 applicants, you know, kindergarten through 12th or through 10th grade. So we modernized a little bit, but let's talk about this. The lottery happens because you, out there in the community, jump onto that joinwestlake.com. It opens up that page, and you fill it out. Super simple. We don't ask for your academic achievement. We're not trying to screen anybody out. We just want to know your name. Simple stuff. Once we get your student enrolled, we'll talk about how to serve your students. So we don't put any screeners on. There's no barriers. Everyone's welcome. Please join in on that lottery application piece. Once your name is in the little application, you'll get a number. You'll get an email from the automated system on the night of the lottery. It is a public lottery. So we will go to the gymnasium. We will open the doors. If it is open to the public at that point because of COVID, you can come in and sit in the gymnasium and watch us work. That is what we want you to do, because we want you to see that this is a transparent process and that we're doing our work in public as we should. Now, I think we streamed it last year because of COVID. So maybe we will again, but we'll see how that plays out. Here's what happens. On March 1st at 5 p.m., every single person who has applied, once we run the little computerized lottery deal, you will get a notification that evening that says one of three things. One, hey, congratulations. You are one of the 112 people who are offered a spot in kindergarten. So there you go. You now are receiving an enrollment packet. Fill out your enrollment packet and return it to Westlake Charter School within some appropriate amount of time. And there you go. Welcome to Westlake. We're glad you're here. So that's what we're all hoping for, is email number one. You got in, right? Email number two. Hey, you got placed on the wait list. What does that mean? Well, the first 112 people that fill these spots, they got the spots in kindergarten, and then the 113th person, they're the first person on the wait list. You could be the first person, the fifth person, the 15th person. You could be the 105th person on the wait list, and you're going to know that night. You're going to get this email that says, "Hey, you're 105th on the wait list." Now, don't be disappointed, because lots of things happen over summer, and what happens is every time the wait list moves, it auto-generates an email. I think every time you move like 5 spots, you're 115th on the wait list, and 5 people dropped out, moved to Nebraska, and you get an email that says, "Hey, you're 110th on the wait list," and it moves on through. You can always log in to that little Join Westlake, that little website, and it'll tell you where you are on the wait list. So you're like, "Hey, I haven't got the emails. I changed my email address." You can always log in and see where you are on the wait list process. So step 1, you'll get an email that says, "You're in." Or step 2, "Hey, you didn't get a spot yet, but you're on the wait list and you'll be notified." Now, I gave you the kindergarten example because there are 112 openings in kindergarten, so that's like our big open pool. But what if you're applying for first grade? Well, technically, I have 112 kindergartners who should all become 112 first graders next year. So on the night of the lottery, we won't offer any first grade seats. If you're the first person pulled in the lottery in first grade, you're going to be number 1 on the wait list. Now, remember I told you, hey, what if somebody in kindergarten gets held back? Well, there you go. There's your opening in first grade. Or what if somebody calls us and says, hey, we're moving to Nebraska. My kindergartner, our whole family, we're moving, but we love you. Good luck. Well, that opens up a spot in first grade, and then you start moving up the wait list. So don't be disheartened if you realize, oh, goodness, nobody got pulled in first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Well, because we don't anticipate any openings until we find out about them when apparently everyone's moving to Nebraska. I keep saying Nebraska. I think those are the 3 scenarios. You got a spot, or you're on the wait list behind the openings, or, hey, there are no openings in this grade level yet, so you are on the wait list there. You will know that night, Mrs. Baden, is that the wrong date? Is that last year's date?
I think that might be last year's date. Our lottery is March 7th.
7th, not March 1st.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, that's the wrong date, everybody.
And everyone who applies, I think, should receive information that has that correct date on there. So if you got the 7th, you've got the correct date. That's right. The right date.
And I'm assuming, I'm hoping it's a live event, man. I'm hoping we're emailing everybody saying, come on out, probably wear a mask. Probably, right? That's probably what it's going to look like. But March is right around the corner. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If not, we'll definitely be doing it virtual as well. So let's talk questions, because this always bubbles up like, hey, wait, how's it work? What questions do you have in the tank, Mrs. Caillou?
Yeah, in regards to the lottery, if I am a current 8th grader, do I have to apply to the high school? It came up in the questions and it's been bubbling around.
It's a great question. Emily, I know you'll answer all high school things. I'll just take this one real quick though. If you are in Westlake Charter School, whether you're in kindergarten, 5th grade, 7th grade, you are always assumed to be moving to the next grade level. So if you're in 8th grade, we're assuming you're going to 9th grade, and we hold your spot because once you're in for life. If we open a college, we'll work on that later. But yes, once you get into kindergarten, you got a spot all the way through 12th grade as you move up. So 8th grade families, you don't have to apply. Here's one thing I would say about the sibling thing. This happens often in the almost decade that I've been here. Oh, I've got a 2nd grader and I got a kindergartner coming up. And because my 2nd grader doesn't have to apply for 3rd grade, I forget that kindergartner is not officially in yet. Anybody coming into kindergartner, no matter how many siblings you have to apply to get that kindergartner in. Now, we have sibling preferences, obviously, because the state of California says you have to have sibling preferences because we want to keep families together. So make sure you apply if you already have a sibling here. Other lottery questions?
No, I think they hit most of those questions there. I just think that one of the things is I would just, if you haven't applied yet and you're like, my kid's going into middle school, I do want to let families know that sometimes we have families that choose, like in 6th grade, if they are looking for a different middle school opportunity, we have really good attrition to the next grade level, but sometimes there's some openings. So we want you to be encouraged to apply so that you can be on that wait list. I think it's that everybody should apply for whatever grade level you're applying for.
Nobody should sideline. You should apply. Because what if you're the first up on the wait list? Like, it's good. If you're out there in the audience right now, an hour and 13 minutes into this show, you should apply. And we are an hour and 13 minutes in. I'm going to advance to, I think, what is the closing slide. And I'll stay. I mean, I know, but if you're watching the show, that is the end of our show. But we will stay and do some question and answer. Thank you for having been here tonight. And let's just transition into some Q&A, you guys. What do we have in general in the tank in there?
Yeah, I would like to ask this question because I think it's really important as people come to our school. And you spoke a little bit about student support services. But if my student has some speech services, maybe before they even come to kindergarten, do we offer those type of supports at our school?
I don't want to dominate every question, but can I just take this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, hey, first of all, we are a public school. All children are welcome here. We serve all children. And no 2 children are the same. So every one of them gets personalized services here. But what you're speaking to is an individualized education plan, right? Through a special education program, speech services, whatever services are necessary, and 100%. We take such great pride. We've been recognized at a very high state level for our special education program because we're a full inclusion program. And that means a lot of things to a lot of people, a lot of different places. But I'll tell you what it means at Westlake Charter School. If you come to Westlake Charter School, we don't have this special room down the hall that certain kids go to and they get isolated from the rest of their grade level peers. Every student goes into a classroom that is a mainstream general education classroom where they are surrounded by their age appropriate peers, and those services that those students require get brought to those children. They can be also, pulled out for speech services into it, but there's no like special education room where my child spends all day. My student gets the majority of their services in their mainstream classroom with their grade level peers. And we have, done our homework and our research and believe that that is the way to develop a community of learners who travel together from kindergarten through 12th grade, and that everybody at some point during their educational career is going to need some form of support. So why not start from the beginning and say everyone in this room is going to get support whenever they need it, however they need it, for as long as they need it, in whatever manifestation that takes place. And so that includes special education, that includes language services for our English learners, that includes student support services on the social, emotional, and the academic side. So yeah, we're pretty proud of that piece right there. It's a big deal to us.
Dr. Ike, one of the things that I always talk about is that we have 2 full-time counselors at the K-8 and another counselor at our high school. And that is something that we invest in that. And they are the busiest people on our campus. I tell you, they love on our kids and give them the tools that they need. And so I'm so proud of that part of our school too. I think it makes us quite special. It's a great place to be. I do want to ask, just kind of, I'm going through, there's some more questions here. Speaking about COVID, I just feel like, we're a charter school. Do we follow the same rules? Do all of our kids wear masks? Do we anticipate changes? Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, and again, I don't want to, me, I'll answer. I think it's probably appropriate that I answer, but if anybody else wants to take it, you can take it. Look, from I'll never forget March 20th. March 12th, 2020, right? I remember walking into the library, pulling all of our staff together and saying, hey, looks like we're going to close school for a couple of days to do some deep cleaning. We'll be right back. And we communicate with our family like a year, then we went to distance learning. And then, we have built this school from the ground up since 2005 in collaboration with our community. And we've had to modify so many things that we do to mitigate this virus. But from the day one, from that March 12th, day one, we said, we're going to do everything within our power to commit to the health and safety of our students, our staff, and our community. And we're going to do that not in isolation. We don't live on an island. We are a public school. And so we're going to adhere to the guidelines from the Sacramento County Public Health, the California Department of Public Health. And we're going to do that in collaboration with our partners like the Natomas Unified School District. So yes, our students are masking right now. We are doing group contact tracing and notifying our families when anyone tests positive. We have testing facilities here on our campus. We do after-school surveillance testing for anybody who wants that service on Wednesday afternoons. We also have been issuing take-home COVID tests for those families who feel like they need that. We collaborate with our families in every way. If they notify us that anybody in their house has tested positive or been exposed to COVID-19, that we utilize the Sacramento County Public Health decision tree to help our families make the appropriate decisions about what's right for isolation and quarantining and things like independent studies. So it has not been easy. We did not all sign up to be public health officials, but we have worked really hard in collaboration with our community over these last 2 years to do what is expected of us to keep our children safe. So we feel good about it. We also feel like, leading right up to Omicron, we thought, Mrs. Houston smiling because we were like, all right, we're bringing families back on campus super soon. This is all, going away soon. And then Omicron hit. And look, if we listen to the projections from the public health officials, maybe Omicron does crash out fast because vaccination rates are theoretically high. And, we all move forward into a future where people get back on campus. We'd like to see this go away. But we do adhere to all of those health guidelines from the public health because we are a public school.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. We did get some lottery questions that came through, and there is some questions about preference, right? So if I don't live in the Natomas community, can you? And I just keep asking you. Sorry, I'm the question asker.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, team, take a question if you want it. I mean, I'll keep talking, and maybe some people are already, leaving for the night, but I'll take the ones that you want me to take. The California law regarding charter schools and regarding random public lottery indicates particular preferences that must be adhered to and then can be implemented. And here's why. Your child gets into Westlake Charter School. They're a kindergartner. 3 years later, they're a third grader, second, whatever, you know what I'm saying. A couple years later, they're in second or third grade, and your younger child wants to get into Westlake Charter School. But if Westlake doesn't have a preference in the lottery to make sure siblings get in, well, then your sibling ends up at a different school down the street, and the state of California says, hey, that's a hardship on families. You can't do that to families. You can't make mom drive to Westlake, drop off one student, and drive to, Heron down the street and drop off another. You can't do that. So we have these preferences. So how do those work? So in the lottery system, right, there's these preferences, and they say, okay, preference number one, siblings. Oh, let's pull all the siblings. So there's 112 kindergarten spots. Oh, we got 31 siblings. Okay, to have the 31 siblings there, how many spaces do you have left? Somebody else do the math on that. Okay, spaces, and then they go through the preferences. Now, one of these final preferences is in district, and then the final is out of district. So yes, if you live out of district and you don't qualify for any of the previous preferences, then you're just kind of in the general lottery, and that's fine. I mean, you're in the general lottery, and you'll be prioritized below the in-district student, but you'll still be on that wait list and still gives you a viable opportunity to get into the school. Everybody, the funny thing is, like, you could apply to this school if you live in Los Angeles. Anybody in the state of California can apply to our school and will end up on the wait list. It's a heck of a commute, but I think it's worth it. We love this school. So yes, the in-district preference, there's a sibling preference, an employee preference. There's a preference for students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. There's I'm blanking out, but they're all on the application to make sure that you get all the correct preferences associated with you. And if you have if you're at home, you filled out the thing and you didn't know what the preferences were, so you didn't complete it, and you're like, oh goodness, I have to go back and change that, you can always contact admin@westlakecharter.com. 100% we will help you to make sure you fill out your preferences correctly, because we know that matters and that the lottery is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a variety of questions, and I just wanted to speak to this, that we'll do our very best to make sure we get out these answers to people that they have specific, or we'll call you. But there is a question about bullying. It came up a couple times and maybe Mrs. Batten can take this one, about how do we address bullying and maybe behavior at our school?
Absolutely. I think it starts first with that, going back to our mission statement and that focus on academic and social emotional readiness, and that when we infuse social emotional readiness in every classroom, kindergarten through 9th, 10th, 12th grade, right? That we are equipping our explorers to treat each other with kindness and respect. So that's our first, what we call a tier 1 universal. Everyone receives that through morning meeting in kindergarten through 5th grade, advisory in 6th through 8th grade, and then we have an advisory program in our high school as well. But we have over 1,000 students operating on a campus. We know that those situations arise where a student feels uncomfortable about an interaction, whether it's a negative social interaction or bullying. And so we train our students on how to report that. And we want to make sure that they report in a comfortable way. So when we speak specifically to bullying, if I am a student who feels that I am in a bullying situation, we often find that our students, because again, going back to that personalization piece, that my teacher or adults on campus are people who know me really well. We often find students reporting directly to their teacher, but we also have an anonymous bullying report button on our website. That report button goes to several administrators who respond very quickly. We're all texting each other. You've got this one, again, treating it anonymously, ensuring that the student is able to file a full report of the situation, and that situation is in. We work with families to ensure that we come to a quick resolution to the situation. And we know, that an initial resolution may not result in the correct solve. And so our team will continue to check in with that student to ensure that we're following up and that student doesn't feel like they made the report and then nothing happened. So it's really important to us that students know that their voice is heard on our campus, that they have multiple avenues to connect either with a person or anonymously if that feels more comfortable to report situations that feel uncomfortable. And again, I just, having worked in several schools where had really high academic standards and we were doing very rigorous, great things academically, watching our students engage in that social emotional learning has such an impact on our school's culture. So when every student is learning how to treat each other kindly, respectfully, become friends, all of those pieces that we're teaching students, that not just expecting them to know how to do that, that has a massive impact on the culture, especially as we talk about bullying.
Yeah. You know, Ms. Batten, one of the things I was talking about is, I mean, I know this is kind of your jam, is that we're not the big discipline and disregard or discard, you know, like, oh, you're in trouble, here's a detention, okay, that problem is solved. Like, that doesn't solve any problem. I mean, maybe you should have a detention for a consequence, but the consequence is not a solution to a behavior. I mean, you might jam a little bit on restorative justice practices, because that's kind of a sweet spot for you.
I'd love to. I was keeping myself like, keep it short, Ben.
We're over time now.
Restorative justice practices, and again, this is one of those bigger conversations, but it is that idea that when a wrong is committed within our community, that multiple people are affected, right? That I am the person, I'll use myself as a bully. I'm going to bully Dr. Ike. I am, treating him inappropriately. I get called in by the dean of students, and as we start talking through the situation, I'm asked to identify people who are impacted. So Dr. Ike's impacted, his family's impacted, our dean of students is impacted, and we talk about how I'm going to make that right. That can be done in a conference with myself and the other adult. Always, we're bringing families into that conversation. And then quite often we're having what's called a restorative justice conference, where you are bringing all parties together to talk through, again, how to make it right, who is impacted, and how we're going to make it right within our community. It's really important for me to say here, though, that in situations of bullying, that the victim, the student who was being bullied, is always asked if they feel comfortable being part of any sort of restorative justice conference. And when they're not, we still are able to go through restorative justice practices. However, that making it right can happen without the victim being involved, because we know that victim is, it can be in a very vulnerable spot. We want to make sure we take care of that person. I've
just seen the making it right thing be done in so many different and interesting and
cool
creative
ways, yeah.
manifestations. Not to call out that this happens everywhere, but two 8th grade boys kind of roughhousing, and we're seeing roughhousing by some younger kids. And those boys put together a presentation, Google Slides, went down to the younger grade level, said, hey, I know that some of you saw us roughhousing. Here's the consequences of our actions. This is, I just thought, wow, that is really restoring the community. The other piece on that is that, our students are surrounded by loving, amazing human beings. We have instructional aides at every single grade level. So there's more adults per grade level here than really anywhere I've been before, along with those counselors and the school psychologists, the instructional aides at each grade level, and the amazing teaching corps, our teachers on special assignments. So students develop these relationships to the point where maybe they don't want to use the bully button. Maybe they don't want to tell their teacher, but maybe they have a relationship with that one yard duty, cafeteria person, the instructional aide, and that works for us real well. That works for us well. Other questions out there, team?
Yeah, one of the last questions, I think, and I kind of grouped it together, is some questions about who we serve. Like, what does the community look like?
Oh, yeah.
What does our staffing look like? And I think that's something that we as a team are always talking about. How does our staff reflect our community in which we serve? And what does and I'm going to ask Ms. Houston if that's okay. Ms. Houston, you're a parent and you live in this Natomas community. Can you speak to the community in which we serve at our school? If you're comfortable, sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, absolutely. I know Dr. Egg loves to talk about this as well. We look like Natomas. I know that sometimes those of us on the screen do not, and we have acknowledged that, and we are aware of that. I think that our community as a whole is extremely diverse, and it's something that we celebrate each and every day. Our staff is always getting more diverse.
Yeah.
And it's something that is an important part of every conversation. And I'm not sure what else you want me to say about it.
Great for answering.
Yeah, I mean, if you wonder what the demographics of Westlake Charter School look like, we are extremely representative of the community. In fact, you go to Ed Data, which is really cool, like nerdy website of educational data, and they have a diversity index. And on that diversity index, people are often misled by the term diversity, like, oh, what does diversity mean? Are all of your students African American, Latinx, or English language learners? Well, the diversity index actually indicates how diverse your school is, how many different student groups are identified at your school, and Westlake Charter School ranks among the highest in the state of California because we are in one of the most diverse zip codes in the nation. Well, I love that you brought it up, Ms. Husted. Like as a leadership team on this screen, we don't really represent the diversity of our school. And what's weird about that is that the three administrators here, myself, Mrs. Batt, and Ms. Caillou, we've been here a decade now together, and we just haven't had turnover. But in that decade together, we've been working to diversify the staff who we lead. So I hope as each of us are replaced, in our eventual tenure comes to an end at Westlake, that part of that continually seeking to represent the beautiful diversity of our community also fills our positions as well. But it is a strategic goal of ours that we talk about at the board meeting often about diversifying our leadership, our board, and our teaching staff so that we reflect the diversity of our communities, right there in our strategic goals. And it's also called out in that mission statement. When we talk about, inspiring adults lead as global citizens, what do we mean by that? We mean people who embrace equity, inclusivity, diversity, cultural competencies. And what we mean by embracing is, like Ms. Husted said, we bring it to the center of our conversations. We look at our student achievement through a personalized lens, but we also look at it through an equity lens. Every conversation we have about student outcomes, student achievement, processes, procedures, protocols, and practices at school, we look at it through a personalization lens. How will this affect this child? And I know this child, I know their name, I know their family, I know their need. Let's talk about them personally. But then we also talk about it through an equity lens, right? That equal inputs don't always create equal outputs. And so equity is different from equal, right? That we're looking for equal outputs. So if this student needs more to create an equal output, then more is needed and is necessary, and we reach that through personalization. So what does our school look like? I wish I could walk you through the halls. I just have, and I've taken a lot of people on a lot of tours, and I'm clearly a big talker, and I love to take people on tours, but I've never walked somebody through our school who hasn't said, wow, I get it. Like, I get this is a different place than other places. So the diversity of our student population mirrors the amazing diversity of our community, and that is what draws many of us to work here. I've been in this neighborhood for 25 years as an educator, and I love this community, but when we go out and recruit teachers, we very specifically talk about these pieces, about equity, inclusivity, and prioritizing recruiting teachers who represent that community. So, and we've done a good job over the last several years of trying to beat the national trends on diversity in our applicant pool. So, we're proud of the work. Ms. Batten?
We have a question. I know that we were going to end on that one, but we have a question that I realized as I read it. We never have the question asked during our in-person tours, because if you walk campus, you get the answer, which is around uniforms. Oh, yeah. So are we a uniform school? So yes, K-8, we are a uniform school. And as you go through the application, the registration process, should you get that spot, you will get full information on our uniform. In high school, we have a dress code, but no uniform. So ninth grade, I wish you could have heard, as we told our eighth graders last year, we weren't having uniforms. There were some cheers there, but our students, I think, really understand the uniform, and kindergarten through eighth grade, we do have a uniform.
Yeah. I think it's a big piece for us. And I do recall the student cheers when we said, all right, you're going to be in high school now. We've trained you kindergarten through eighth grade to represent our school and your family and yourself through a personalized approach. All right, here's the dress code. And it's great. Team, should we wrap it up? Are there look, Ms. Caillou, if questions bubble in now after we get off air, will we create like a little FAQ, little frequently asked questions? Maybe we'll put that blurb together, throw it up on our little website, and put that link out to our families who are on our email list. We'll do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to address those questions.
Great. Any question not answered, we'll put it together in FAQ. However, if you're like, I don't want to wait for the FAQ because I'm just that impatient, I totally understand that. You can email admin@westlakecharter.com. You can set up a time to meet with either the principals, myself, Mrs. Husted as well. Like, we are here to serve our community. Here's the thing we like to say, and it's this: there is a lottery. Whether you get into our school or don't get into our school, we are public educators in the community of Natomas. We work for this community and for your family. So whether you come to this school or end up at another school, if you need people in public education to answer questions that you have about public education, we would love to be a resource for you. Reach out to our school at admin@westlakecharter.com, and we'd be proud to serve you. Okay. Thank you for joining our Prospective Parent Tour. We'll see you on Lottery Night on March 7th at 5 p.m. And as always, let's explore. All right, you're going to hear a lot of that in the coming years, as we say it every time. All right, thank you, family.